Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I am so glad you are tuning in live today, catching the replay, or listening over on the podcast because I have another special guest for you today. Our guest today is someone who I've known really only for a couple of months in the big scheme of things, and we had an opportunity to meet last weekend. Now, before I introduce this amazing guest, if this is your first time listening to the podcast or tuning in live, I am so glad you found us. It's exciting to be here with you and to share these amazing people with all of you who are making such an impact in the world. My name is Yong Pratt. I'm a 17-year performing arts studio owner turned chief dreamer and podcaster right here at Our Young Creators. Here at OYC, we love helping people harness the power of technology, no matter their age, so that they can move from being a consumer on their devices into becoming a creator, putting out more goodness into the world. And today's guest is doing just that. Mary Jo Staebler is the Witty Web Gurl, and she is a web designer, web developer extraordinaire who helps business owners really share their stories on the World Wide Web. Mary Jo, I am so glad you are here with us today.
Thank you, Yong. Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking me on.
Absolutely. And so, like I shared at the beginning, Mary Jo and I had an opportunity to meet last weekend with a small group of people at a retreat, and big things were happening. And I felt sort of like the people around me were doing such incredible things that I almost felt like, oh, I'm not worthy. However, we learned that we are the ones holding ourselves back a lot of the times, and we broke through some amazing barriers this last weekend. So I'm so glad we were there to do that together.
Yeah. And then meeting people that you've known online for even just a few months and seeing them in person, it's just amazing. So, I mean, not only was the event just mind-blowing and what everyone was bringing to the table, as well as, things that they were looking to, expand themselves on or to, break a barrier. It was just, and for me, I'm just an emotional girl that I just get juicy that, I'm just like so tearful and excited at the same time that it's an emotional roller coaster. It was just an amazing weekend.
Fantastic. And I know Christy Garcia, who is one of the coordinators or organizers of the event, is on right now. So Christy, big kisses to you and Kim White for putting together a fantastic, mind-blowing, universe-expanding weekend, because, wow, I don't even have words to sort of even comprehend or share the magnitude of what happened in 3 short days.
Yeah. It's just to see people expand their minds and to realize that they have a lot of potential and a lot to offer the world, and to step into that area of possibility. It was just a treat, to be honest. It was just amazing.
Yes, and you said something earlier that you were really emotional at the event, as was I. And I think that emotion is what helps you to be an incredible designer and developer, because you're able to translate that emotion into a web presence. And I just so commend you and appreciate that gift in you.
Yeah. When I work with people who I see their websites before, where it's just like, you know what, this is not doing you justice. You have so much more in you, so much more light, so much more abilities that you need to shine. And the copy or the design, it's not showcasing you as who you really are. And that's where I try to bring that person up to the level that they are at, and give them the possibility to even grow even further than that. For them to recognize that they have gifts that they need to show the world and present out there.
I have to say that the gift you have here is so rare, because having worked with different designers over the past 17 years, I can say that doesn't happen with every developer designer. They might ask you some standard questions, but they never dig into finding out who the business owner is, finding out the people they serve, finding out what their mission is. And I think that's what really just makes you exceptional. And I'm so excited now that you're taking all these gifts and you are onto several new platforms now, giving actionable tips, takeaways, and all the goodness you have in podcast form.
Yes. And it's so fabulous that I took your podcast on the weekend that allowed me to venture out into this area, which is interesting because I am such a visual person that, live video is definitely something I can get in hang of. But for someone who then steps into just an audio version, just a podcast and get out there in the world that way, it was a bit of all right, how do I approach this? But, with your class, it was like, it would made it so easy and as well as just so simple that it was like a no-brainer. I'm like, well, gee, this won't take much more of my time, nor will it actually be anything necessarily different than live video. It definitely is mind-blowing. So yeah, I'm hoping that with the podcast that I have, which is the Witty Web Gurl, will bring people into the light of, okay, so that you hear all these things that you need, all these different tools, or even how to do your website, that it's more than just the colors. It's more than just, I'm going to go do a photo shoot and have a pretty photo on there. There's a lot more to it. And I hope to broaden people's minds with this podcast that I now have.
Yes, and given the reviews you've already gotten in such a short time, you are absolutely opening people's minds to the possibilities of what web design can be, because there's no box to fit in. You're showing them the amazing possibilities that not only are available online for them in the tech world, but you're really giving them an opportunity, like you said, to showcase what makes them unique and brings their skills to the table. And you put all those pieces together and you allow your clients to shine. And now you're allowing more people to access your wisdom and the way that you view web design and development, because it is very different. So I want to just say a big thank you for really breaking down, especially these techie terms. Not everybody loves tech like we do. And so being able to listen to somebody who understands inherently how everything works, but then has the capacity to put things in a way that everyone can understand, that's huge.
Yeah, because there's no need, because I know some developers or designers may feel like, okay, I need to show my prowess, I need to show the power that I have, that I can lord over you and make you believe anything that I need you to believe. It's just not my game. I'm not a person that needs to be the type A person. I don't need to be the person that needs to, I need to show that I am all knowing and I know all this stuff, and then you just need to trust what I'm saying. It's a matter of here, let me give you some options. Let me give you an idea of what's really going on, and then help you work with you decide on what to move forward with.
And I think you do something really special too. You actually, to me, when you're putting together a website, it's all about being vulnerable, but it feels a little bit uncomfortable. So to have someone like you in my back pocket to listen to and say, you could try this. If you want to make it do this, try this. Or if you want to hire someone, here are some tips to do that. And I just love that there's so many opportunities you give to your viewers of your show as well as your podcast listeners, because literally, they can have so many great ideas to put together a website and see a website as something of value, something that is them. And it's really sort of an intimate space, because you have to be a little bit vulnerable to be on a website and to have you saying, yes, here's what you need to share, and here is why, which I think is almost more important.
Yeah. There's many times when I work with especially new business owners who are starting to step out in the world, getting out of their comfort zone, is that they actually do step into this transition phase of, once they actually start seeing their site becoming to be whole and actually visible to them, they start to get a little antsy. They start to get a little bit scared of oh my, the thing that I wanted to do in life, my ideas, my dreams, is coming true. And so then they start going, and I get this a lot, especially in review time. where people are starting to get a little bit more like, I'm not sure about that, I don't like this. You get a little more picky about things. But in essence, it's really the insecurity that's in them, and to help them transition from like, hey, you got this. Hey, this is going to be great, and this is going to help you shine like you want to, and hopefully get them over the hurdle of that insecurity.
And that's a really interesting point, because I don't think many people think about that. About when you put yourself online, it's really exciting and you're like a kid in a candy store in the beginning. But as you get closer to making your site live and making it real and making it a part of, or an extension of who you are, that's when we start holding ourselves back. So it's so great that people now have you to reach out to and say, okay, I'm going to trust this process. I'm going to trust this step because I have something to share, and having you to help them share it, I think makes it at another level, because you're not letting them stop themselves.
Exactly. Because it's just going to be another excuse that, that you keep to help keep yourself safe. And it's like, you have great talents. A lot of people have great talents, and they need to be put out there. And so that's where I'm hoping that their website helps get them over that hurdle.
Absolutely. And when you were creating this podcast and thinking about who you were talking to and who this podcast was for, what did you come up with as far as who you wanted to serve?
So the people I want to serve is mainly business women or entrepreneurs that are looking to up their game in their website. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when people, you get a lot of, when you're in the entrepreneurial space, you start to see a lot of opportunities of people trying to sell you items like, here's some coaching stuff, or here you need this system, you need that system. And I'm hoping to clarify, in simple terms of, okay, this is the things that you should really look to and have in your arsenal. These are the kind of marketing items that you should look to use with your website, and not to get caught up in the thing of, I have to do it this certain way because otherwise I'm not doing it right. And to recognize that, it's never going to be right. It's never going to be done or perfect. You are going to be in flux. Your website's going to be in flux. Things are going to change. Like I've mentioned before, it's like, you just got to take the spaghetti, pull it out of the water, and throw it on the wall and see if it sticks. If it doesn't stick, you make another pot of spaghetti. So, yeah, that's what I hope to do with my podcast, is get people over that hurdle.
So good, because I think when some people, even in this day and age, think that a website is like a brochure, like in the olden days. It is static. You pick it up. You might change it once in a while, and that's good enough. In this day and age, because everything moves so quickly, a website does become this very fluid thing where you can add things when it's appropriate. You can take things back off. And again, having someone like you in our corner to let us know when to do those things, that's also such a gift, because most of us don't go into the online space or into business wanting to be a web designer. But a lot of us take on that responsibility for lots of different reasons. And when we're so wrapped up in this process ourselves, we sort of lose sight about what a website really can do for us.
Exactly. There is so much potential, so much opportunity, and to recognize that this is your little corner of the internet, and that you own, and that you can control the experience and what to say and what people do, that you're not limited by, like, say, like Facebook, who, shut you off for certain things, or doesn't put out your post for certain things, or even other social media. So it's a valuable space that you need to own and take care of, as well as get people to. So it's not just a one and done thing, for sure.
You said something really, really key, and I want to point this out. You said it twice, actually, just in this little soundbite, that your website is something you own. You're not renting space like you are on social media. You're not having to follow someone else's rules. You get to choose what it looks like, what you're going to share on it, what things go, what things stay. It's totally up to you. It's like owning a house. It's a property that you have, and you can keep adding. You can purge and get rid of stuff. You can paint the walls a new color. I mean, everything is possible when you own your own space. So if you're watching and you're listening and you don't have a website, Here's what I want you to do. I want you to reach out to Mary Jo right after you listen and start a conversation. Ask questions about, how do I have my own property in this online space? Because it is that important. And the second thing I want you to do, of course, is to subscribe to Mary Jo's podcast. And of course, if you leave a rating and review, that's going to help her elevate her podcast so more people see it inside of iTunes. So Mary Jo, I would love to know, when do you release new episodes of your podcast?
I release episodes every Thursday, so definitely every week on the Thursday, expect some good stuff from me.
And I really just adore two things about this podcast. One is that on the cover of the podcast, it's not you, it is your Converse, which, if you don't follow Mary Jo on Instagram, definitely go take a look and follow her there too, because she posts a lot of pictures about these amazing shoes. So it's very much a part of who she is, and that's the cover, so that's one. And it's called the Witty Web Gurl. And I think Mary Jo has a special talent that separates her from other web designers and developers, in that she has this great sense of humor and wit. And I just love it, because she's not the, the buttoned up, tie the tie, buy the books kind of girl. She's the one who grabs your shoulders, she looks into your eyes, and is able to extract these amazing things about you. And then above and beyond that, she can help take you and put you in website form. And I think that is so phenomenal.
That's a good way to put it.
You have so many gifts, my friend. Now, if you could give anyone listening advice on, maybe they're new to the website, or maybe they want to make some tweaks because they've been doing it themselves and they never kind of get what they want, what advice would you give to them about continuing? What is going to be that next step for them?
What I would do is, if you don't really already know your message, if you have a website, what I would do is kind of two different things. So for one, someone has a website, I would take 5 not necessarily too random, but 5 people that you trust and whatnot, have them look at your site and give feedback, because that will help you see the blind spots that you may not see because you believe that you've done a great job at your website, which I'm sure you have, but there's probably some spots that could, use some polishing. For someone who hasn't created a new site, I would consider, what is your brand? What is your message? Before really diving into creating the site itself. Because if you don't know who you are, what your message is, and what you're trying to convey to people, the site's not going to do justice for you. It's just going to fall on its face, and you're going to have to redo it again, or at least modify it to some degree to get it to what you want it to be. Yeah.
And I really appreciate that second piece of advice, because I know for me, when I started diving into this website creation space, I wanted to dive right into the software and do these things, but of course I didn't know how to do it. So not only did I not know what I wanted to say, I didn't know how anything worked. And that was a huge stumbling block, which led me to other designers and developers that I've worked with. And it was just such a huge, overwhelming piece of yuckiness. I mean, there's no other word but yuck in that experience. So if you can write down and brainstorm or brain dump everything you kind of want to say first, then you can start putting the pieces together, and then you can start getting a sense of what it's like. I mean, if you buy a puzzle in the store and there's no picture on the front, and you were to dump all the pieces out and put them together, you have no idea what it's going to look like. You may know where the edges are, but all the stuff in the middle, which is the meat of your website, may never get put together. So definitely having that picture before you start is so key. So I want to thank you, Mary Jo, for sharing that bit, because I think, if nothing else, that's a really, really great first step for anybody at any stage of building their own website.
No problem. Yeah. I mean, it's very interesting when meeting up to people that they don't have that part done, and they really need that before they actually start on design. Yeah.
Absolutely. So Mary Jo, where can people connect with you online if they have any further questions or want to connect with you?
You could always go to my Facebook page. It's just my name, Mary Jo Staebler. You could also go on Instagram and message me there. But my website is maryjostaebler.com. It's my name. It's pretty good.
So easy. And where can they listen to the podcast?
So the podcast you can find on Apple, Stitcher, and Spotify. It's called The Witty Web Gurl, and girl is spelled with a U, not an I. So, be careful of that part. But yeah, I'm out there and ready to give you guys great nuggets of information.
Yes. And again, I would say run, don't walk, go subscribe, go listen to all the goodness that Mary Jo has to share with you, because you need her in your life. I mean, literally, it's having this web designer, web developer in your back pocket. She's in your earbuds when you need her, and she is on social media if you run into any issues. So definitely don't take that lightly. Make sure you subscribe and connect with her. And Mary Jo, if you could, after we're done with this interview, come back below this video and pop in all the links of where everyone can find you, I would so appreciate that.
Oh yeah, I'll do that. No problem.
Kim just said she subscribed. Yay, Kim! That is so exciting.
Thanks, Kim.
Yeah, Christy's here, and I want to say thank you, Christy, for tuning in. Definitely connect with Mary Jo, and she'll rock your world. I know yesterday we had a little conversation in Messenger, and all of a sudden I thought, whoa, really? That's possible? And literally, it was just a couple of messages back and forth. So she's someone you need in your life. So I urge you to connect with her, subscribe. And Mary Jo, I just want to say a big thank you and give you a huge virtual hug, because you are such an amazing, amazing person with so many gifts. And I think that anyone with a business, especially all of us women in business, needs to connect with you so you can help us all have a better presence online.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I'm Yong Pratt, Chief Dreamer here at Our Young Creators, and I've just had an amazing conversation with the Witty Web Gurl herself, Mary Jo Staebler. Have an amazing day, everyone.